Kia ora koto. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 40 of Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain.
Right.
Kia ora. Yeah, everything is fine, although we've just been talking about how cold it is.
You don't know the half of it, mate. It's a fine summer's day down here, that temperature we're experiencing.
I had to put an extra T-shirt on. No. To put many more layers of clothing.
Yeah, it's been a long winter down here, it feels like. But, yeah, blue skies today, so hopefully we're coming out of it. Who knows? We've got a few bits and bobs to talk about today, haven't we?
Yep, we got a lot of music to talk about because we did promise to delve into the Mercury Prize list, which we have done, at least part of the way anyway. So we'll get some of that out of the way and talked about. And there's the Women's World Cup is progressing, so we can talk about that. And there's one or two other bits and pieces.
A couple of other bits and bobs. I think last year we attempted to, both of us, talk about all 12 of the Mercury albums. And I think it was a bit of a tall order. So we split them up this year. Yeah. So we're going to do 2 each per episode over the next few episodes. It's a bit more manageable, I think. Yeah, a few other bits and pieces going on. Should we start? Should we start with the Mercury albums?
All right, let's do that then.
Do you want to do your first one?
Got to do that then. Or J Hus. First. An album called Beautiful and Brutal Yard, which spells baby if you take the initial letters, because that's what it does on the cover of said album.
Nice.
And his real name is Mamadou Lamine Jallo, so he's a Gambian originally, I think, but he grew up in Stratford.
Yeah,
he's your man.
Nice one.
Hey.
Yep.
And he's also been in jail for carrying a knife.
I haven't.
No.
Yeah, I have carried knives. But only in the kitchen, mainly. Yeah.
Probably. He's no stranger to the Mercury.
That's right.
Because there was a massive album in 2017 called Common Sense, which was nominated for swag of awards back in the day. And possibly the sense of the Mercury kind of catching up here by going, I didn't win it last time. Let's, this is pretty good. Let's put it in again. Some pretty big special guests, even I've heard of, Drake and Georgia Smith. So he's getting some massive numbers on streaming, especially on the Drake track. So we're talking grime and Brit rap and samples and rhyming. And he's had collaborations with Skepta and Stormzy and Dave in the past. There is a bit of auto-tune on the album, which I do absolutely hate. But mostly it's very subtle.
You do know when I post-produce this podcast, every episode I auto-tune your voice.
No.
Because you talk out of key.
Oh, I talk out of key.
Yeah.
And a totally different accent. It's not my usual listen. The sexual bragging tunes got on my nerves quite a bit, which I thought that stuff was kind of out of fashion, but it seems not. It seems it isn't. So the more social commentary-oriented ones I kind of liked. The one with Drake I liked the least, which may be heresy. I'm not sure. It's all right. I can't see it breaking any new ground. Black music, Mobo music-wise, so maybe somebody could inform me if they know if it is. But it's up there.
We were saying this, weren't we, a few days ago?
Solid reviews.
It's quite difficult for anyone, I guess, to review these Mercury nominees because you've got every genre covered there, and there's genres here. If you've got no reference points, it's quite hard, isn't it? So all you can do is, but maybe that's a bit refreshing actually, because you can go, well, I don't really know this kind of music, but I thought this was all right or not. So stretches you a little bit, I suppose.
So that was that one.
How many stars out of 5?
Stars out of 5
for you personally.
Mercury wise, probably 3. I think.
Yep.
I liked quite a bit of it, but there was. I thought, not another sexual bragging song.
We don't need that, do we? No, them days are done.
No.
Okay, well, you mentioned collaborations and stuff. So the second one I was going to do, I'll do it first, which is an album by an artist, producer, whatever you want to call them, called Fred Again. I don't know if you know Fred Again. I wasn't, again, not really a world that I move in. The album's called Secret Life. I think this is his 3rd or 4th album. done a bit of research. So his real name is Fred Gibson, or Frederick something or other Gibson, and he strikes me as being a posh boy. His mother was a socialite, and his father was descended from the Duke of something or other. So he's a London posh boy, you know the type. But anyway, he started out life as a producer, and he worked with, you mentioned Stormzy. He's worked on that scene as well. He's in the electronic music production scene. He's worked with Ed Sheeran, Charlie XCX, people like that. But he, this album is a collaboration with Brian Eno, which I didn't know till I'd listened to it, and then went back and did some research. And he's worked with Brian Eno quite a few times over the years. And Brian Eno first encountered him when he was 16, and he sang on some album. Can't remember which album it was now, but he sang on some album that Brian Eno was working on. So yeah, this has got Brian Eno written all over it, really, which you'll love or hate. It's kind of it's modern electronic music, but it's very sort of atmospheric and ambient. I think his previous material was a bit more kind of electronica, dancey type stuff. So yeah, some good lyrics, some good performances in there. But it's a bit, well, again, it's not really my cup of tea, albums that just drift along at the same BPM. You know what I mean? It's not very dynamic. I'm not hearing fast ones and slow ones. And it's all quite slow and quite atmospheric. Great sounds, great soundscapes type stuff and beats and all that good stuff. I listened to it a few times. I would listen to it again. It's all right. It's all right. I'll give it a 3. Solid 3 for me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fred again, Secret Life.
Fred again. So I went a bit different after that with folk music. Lankum is the band, and False Lankum is the name of the album. They're a 4-piece from Dublin, and they're on Rough Trade, so that gives you kind of idea where they're going. First heard by me in the Gallows Pole soundtrack, which we talked about last time, with a track off their first record. This is their third album. The name comes from a traditional folk tune, which doesn't seem to really appear much on things like Spotify, but there's certainly a lot of guys holding up microphones in Irish pubs recording traditional singers over there where this song kind of comes from.
Yep.
And as with traditional folk, it's sort of adapted throughout the years from songs that are basically the same guy, the same story. But they get twists, and they're twisting this particular folk by sort of mixing it up with ambient and psychedelic rock stuff going on, a little bit proggy at times as well. So there's plenty of kind of eerie atmosphere going on in there. Tales of whatever, tales of woe and history and all sorts of things. It sounds like it's been recorded at Third Ban or Toe Rag or something like that. So it's very analog, super analog, fuzzy.
Yeah, but you can do all that digitally, of course.
You can. So maybe really in their bedroom. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's what it sounds like. Good stuff. Universally good reviews. I looked through all the reviews and thought, crikey, they've got lots of stars here.
Oh, okay.
7.7 on Pitchfork, and that was quite a low one, to be honest.
Right. Okay.
So it's up there in their genre, and interested in listening again. Yes, would listen again.
Okay. I'll give that a listen.
I may even go up to 4.
4 stars out of 5.
Certainly a 3.5, but I'd say I'd probably go to 4 because I did quite enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I will check that one out. I probably should listen to it. Not just the 6 I'm reviewing. I should probably listen to all 12. Well, I have actually. I've listened to not all 12, but I listened to some others.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
So that was that.
All right. The second one I'm going to talk about is Ezra Collective, Where I'm Meant to Be. Now, I had heard of Ezra Collective. I had listened to them by accident. They'd come up on Spotify, daily mix things. So they're a 5-piece London outfit. They've done 2 or 3 albums before, I think. It's there's a lot of brass on there. It's jazzy, jazz, funk, soul, acid jazz kind of feel to it, but with some earthy Cuban Afrobeat type stuff going on. There's a lot of that, and it's great. I mean, great playing. I mean, really good playing, and they got their grooves. They're clearly a good band. They'd be a great live band, I would think. They got some guest vocalists on there. Kojay Radical, who we would have been talking about this time last year for the Mercury Prizes, if you remember. And Emily Sandé, which is a bit of a household name, to name but two. Actually, those two are probably my two favourite tracks on the album, the two where those two appear. Yeah, I'd probably describe it as background music, aside from, because a lot of them are instrumentals. And to be honest, a lot of them sound the same. It's 14 tracks. It's an hour and 10 minutes or something. And I think they could have lost 3 or 4 of the instrumental tracks, I think. So it's a bit long. You might not ever get to the end. It's one of those sort of albums, you know what I mean? You'll listen to the first 4 tracks a few times, but really good stuff, if you like, that acid jazz thing, Jamiroquai thing back in the day. And it's like that, but lots of brass. And just really well done. I'd like to see them live if I ever got the chance, because I think it'd be incredible.
Cool.
I'll give them a 3.5.
Cool. Good.
Which I'm sure they'll be delighted to hear when they listen to this, because I'm sure they'll be listening to this, won't they? Most people do.
I wonder if there's a thing here where, because we pretty much mentioned soundtracky type music for all of these, apart from J House probably, but is there a thing where it's a valid commercial, well, it has been for quite some time, a valid commercial track you can walk down by making music to slot into TV series? And it seems that every single one has to have that particular soundtrack album with cool stuff in it.
I don't know what today's music artists do to make money, to be honest. What's commercially, unless you're Taylor Swift or Ed Sheeran, I don't know how the hell they make money. I mean, you hear how much they get from Spotify and so on.
It's pretty tough.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and Pulp, we mentioned Pulp last week. They posted a picture at the end of their tour, or during their tour, whatever, of all the crew. And I think it was the last day of the tour. It said, thanks to all the crew for there's 57 people. Right?
Yeah.
That's just Pulp. Right? That's just Pulp. That's not Taylor Swift or anyone. That's just Pulp. 57 people. So you think, it's $130 a ticket. There's only 4 of them in the band. Well, that doesn't seem right. But it's not. There's 57 of them in the band that all need a little slice of that pie.
Yeah, that's right.
But do you need 57 people for a rock and roll band? I don't know if you do.
Are you playing a big venue? I suppose you need, if you're going to drag in the lighting people and
there's probably kind of stuff. Catering and legal and PR and social media, and there'll be all those people there, right? 57 people. That was really interesting, eh?
It's kind of a point. We went out the other week to see an artist called Jen Cloher, who is a sort of one of the people behind Milk Records, which is Courtney Barnett's, or originally was Courtney Barnett's releases came out on Milk. She's great. She's an artist in her own right, and she came over here, did a couple of gigs with a 5-piece band in what can only be described as a dive bar in Auckland. One of our scruffiest, let's put it that way, but still good. It's one of those with pillars everywhere. If you get in the wrong place, you can't see. You can only see half the stage and all that kind of thing, and vice versa. The drummer can't see half the audience, so it's one of those kind of things. But it's really great, a terrific venue. And we always feel now, especially when it's been a good experience, which it was a terrific gig, to buy something as well, because you just think, well, look at them all. They're not going to make any money by being in this hovel of 200 people crammed in. Those 5 people have flown here from Australia. That's it. So we bought the album. Here it is. In fact, I am the river. The river is me. We got it signed, and we talked to her. She's lovely. Yeah. And listen to it, folks. Jen Cloher. It's really good. She's discovered her maternal line, her Maori heritage, and that's on Fancy Green Vinyl as well, I think. So to follow the point a bit more, we always feel that we kind of think, oh God, we've got to buy something as well. Tickets were hardly expensive. Let's keep these people going. Let's do what we can to support live music. Because as you say, I don't know how some people do it.
No. Even I mentioned Taylor Swift, and I assume Taylor Swift has billions of downloads on Spotify. I assume.
Oh yeah,
it'll be in the billions.
People imagine.
Even then,
yeah.
I mean, what do they get? $0.001 per million. Oh, that's ridiculous numbers.
Yeah.
Even then, she kind of made much money. She's selling out enormous stadiums, but she's probably got 150 in her crew.
Are there kind of investment vehicles behind these big artists? In other words, does someone sell Taylor Swift futures on the stock market or something like that?
And all that stuff. Yeah.
You know,
who knows?
Banking on her growing.
Yeah. There's just not a market.
Ginormous fan base.
You're not going to get billionaire rock stars in the future, right? Because even the biggest of the big, Adele and Ed Sheeran and people like that, they won't be making obscene amounts of money like Elton John would have done back in the day, or Queen or Led Zeppelin. I don't know. Interesting.
Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
So Fred again obviously gets over it by being a bit posh and maybe having the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another point that could be made. Do working and middle class people make music anymore because they can't afford to?
They can't do it for a living, right? They're selling their own merch and they're driving their own van, and it's tricky. It's not a route to fame and fortune. Well, fame maybe, but not fortune. Unless you know otherwise, people let us know. Speaking of new albums, there's a new Blur album. Which I have listened to once. I've been a bit busy lately, so I've listened to it once. I will listen to it properly and talk about it on here in the coming weeks. But I did listen this week to, and I've mentioned this before several times, the Sodajerker podcast. This is where these guys interview famous songwriters about songwriting and about nothing else. They just talk about songwriting. Damon Albarn was on there talking about his songwriting process, and that really, really good interview, folks. Have a little listen to that. He's done a lot of work. I didn't really realise. I think he said he's got 600 songs published, something like that.
I can imagine.
He's done solo albums, and he's done, obviously Gorillaz, Good, the Bad, and the Queen, other bits and pieces, and of course all the Blur stuff. Good interview. I've always thought he might be a bit of a dick, but he seemed all right. Maybe he's not good. Yeah, maybe he's not.
I'd say the album hasn't quite grabbed me as much as The Magic Whip did in 2015, which is their previous one. But I'm still listening to it. It's nothing sort of outstanding has jumped out and grabbed me yet, but who knows? Maybe it's one of those growers.
To me, it sounds very much like a band that have been together a long time and have grown up, and it sounds really grown up, and they absolutely know what they're doing, and they go into the studio and they'll just knock these songs out. And do you know what I mean? That's not a criticism. It's just an observation that they just know what they're doing, and they could do it again next week if they wanted to. They're consummate professionals, if you like. So it's got that feel to it for me, which I suppose will happen as artists get older. I started a new book. I've got 3 books on the go at the minute, but I've revisited this one. I got through 2/3 of the way through, ironically, 2/3, 60%, something through it. And it's called Alex's Adventures in Numberland by Alex Bellos. Holding it up to the screen for those not watching on YouTube. And it's a book. This guy's a mathematician, journalist type person. And it's kind of the history and the culture of maths, of numbers, and how maths evolved, and how it took a very, very long time for anyone to, and it was India that did this. They came up with the concept of zero. There was never a zero. Why do you need zero? You don't need a number for nothing. What's yellow and invisible? No bananas. So why would you need a digit for zero? Makes no sense. Well, they invented one, and that changed the face of maths forever. It's interesting if you're interested in maths. It's not too mathematical. Having said that, I never got through it first time round, so I'm going to give it another go.
Try it again.
Yeah, try again. Yeah. So
all good.
Yeah.
I was also reading Alfred Bester's The Stars, My Destination. I was delighted to find it. This SF science fiction masterwork. Oh, God, there you go.
Don't know it.
SF masterwork series is kind of reissues It used to be known as Tiger Tiger in the UK, as in Tiger Tiger Burning Bright, for reasons which are included in the book, but I won't bother going into them here. It is a science fiction classic. I was delighted to find it and reread it again after many years of not having it. I think I've complained in previous podcasts about the difficulty of obtaining classic novels from the past these days. Fortunately, SF Masterworks, which is a series by Gollancz, covers some of the ground there.
I've discovered a great discovered a great second-hand bookshop. We've got a few good second-hand bookshops. So I discovered this one. It also does jigsaw puzzles as well, and there's plenty of them. But it's more like a book exchange. So you can buy a book from them, and you take it back and swap it for one that's kind of similar value, and you get it for half price.
Yeah.
So you get in a second-hand book for like $4 or something like that for a general book. And I went in there because we've got this box set of his Dark Materials. Those 3 books. The first one, Northern Lights, has gone missing. Just gone missing. So I went in there the other day, and I was looking, and there's loads of Philip Pullman books there, but not the one I wanted, the exact edition.
No, of course.
I said to the woman, she said, "Can I help?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for Northern Lights by Philip Pullman." She said, "Oh yeah, we've got." I said, "No, I need a specific edition of it." Do you know which one? So I got my phone out and I Googled it. I said, "That one, I want that one." She went, "Hang on a minute, let me go out the back." 5 minutes later, she comes through. There it is.
Thank you. Excellent.
I think she must know every single book that's in that shop. So yeah, we've got a couple of good bookshops like that. So if you're ever looking for anything, Captain, let me know and I'll go wandering around.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
no, we have one as well. Which rather amusingly or punningly is called the Hard to Find Bookshop.
Oh, we've got one of those.
But I know where it is.
Yeah, so do I. I think I posted that on Instagram once. Found it.
Yeah. I think we've both done that. But similar thing. Basically, you could go in and they just go, it's over there.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. And also good for taking away. They're not. You can take your Dan Browns down to the Chazza to get rid of those. But if you've got anything that you're tired of but is remotely interesting, they'll give you reasonable money for it. They'll give you a voucher for the shop or give you even more. Yeah,
great
cash,
stuff. That's from where I work, the bookshop I'm talking about is 200 yards that way, and the Hard to Find bookshop is 200 yards that way, and across the road is the one called the Dead Souls bookshop. So I've got three really good bookshops just 2 minutes away from work, so that's good.
Use them, folks. Use them.
Use them or lose them.
Anymore.
Exactly. And your library. Don't forget to use your library.
That's right. Indeed.
Mamma Mia is the last thing I'm going to talk about today. Both the kids are in the school production of Mamma Mia. They're doing 4 shows. We were there for the first one on Wednesday. Wednesday. And it was brilliant. Really good. I mean, I was made to sit and watch that film, and I think it's the worst film I've ever seen in my life.
It's fairly
terrible. It's not.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting it to be a good film, it's not. It's just very, very light entertainment. It's dreadful. But I think these kids did a better job, to be honest. So proud of them. They've done a good job there, and we've got Saturday night is the final show, so we'll be there for that one as well. So that's been good fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah,
I think we must hie us to a mention of the Women's World Cup footy before we go, because it's been drama all the way. And I think we were saying last week that sort of it seems even strong contenders have not really emerged. Well, maybe they have now.
Yes,
one or two of them, but considering that, and I read here, Germany, Brazil, Canada, and Italy are going home.
Yeah.
It means that some of those teams from the bottom part of the top 20 and lower have been pushing up and challenging. So
some of the big teams will be a bit worried for the knockout, the knockout rounds.
Can we mention America looking incredibly worried? And not really knowing why they've done what they've done, which is not much. They seem baffled, which is good.
Of course, A lot of the on the news on the radio this morning, they were saying how a lot of USA fans and even the media have booked their travel itinerary based on them topping the group and going to Sydney, but they've got to go to Melbourne or somewhere instead now. So we've got to rearrange all their travel because, scraped through, didn't they? So I was at New Zealand's last game last weekend. And, well, they couldn't have done any more, could they? They gave it everything they had, but unfortunately, they'd lost it in the previous game, which they should have won.
Yeah.
But good experience, and it's been great. It's been great around the city here. It's been really good. It's pretty cool here too. England discovered a lot of mojo by changing formation and absolutely hammering the Chinese. I have to say, it was an authentic hammering. The penalty was quite lucky for China, as per the United States. They'll be playing Sweden, and that's probably one of the teams you wouldn't want to get in your round of 16. No, exactly right. That's the one to watch, I think.
You don't want.
Yeah.
So that should be a heck of a match, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Some other ones. France, Morocco, that should be quite. Colombia, Jamaica. See, some teams that you wouldn't expect are going to make it through. Japan, Norway. Switzerland v Spain, Netherlands v South Africa, England are playing Nigeria, of course, and Australia versus Denmark, and that won't be that easy for the host nation. It's all boiling up. It's really good.
I don't know if they've got they've had like a fan zone thing, a place where you can go and watch the game and all that. I don't know if that stays open for the whole tournament here or not, or if it was just while the matches were on. Because I'd like to go down and watch the England game. There'd be plenty of Poms down there.
I think you need to check. I think we have a fan zone, and I think it is open pretty much
for the whole
anytime
tournament.
that there's a match on somewhere. They get the screen out, and you go and watch it.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. It's been good having something like that down here. It's all World Cups at the moment this year, isn't it? You've got netball and football and rugby's coming up, and all sorts of World Cups going on. And shout out to Stuart Broad as well. If you're listening, Stuart, you're not. But how about that?
Broady.
How about that?
Amazing. 604. Takes the last 2 wickets. It was a bit irritatingly stage managed that he resigned in the penultimate day of the test. I thought it was just a bit slightly necky, really. But, can't begrudge him that after all the years of service.
Yeah, of course.
And
how old do you feel when you remember a sportsman's dad?
Well, yeah,
and then their child retires. How old does that make you feel?
But there's the pictures of Chris Broad sitting in the stands, and you think he looks about 40. So nice. He looks 3 years older than his son. Really, it's kind of bizarre thing.
Yeah, funny old thing.
Great.
But good. A lot of good
stuff.
sport.
The Ashes was great. For all its should they really play that way? You think, superbly entertaining.
Just the weather that ruined it really at the end for England. Yeah. And a quick mention about Mark Cavendish as well. You pointed something out to me the other day for anyone that's been following our newly found obsession.
Yeah, did we
Tour de France?
Did we make that last time? Has he signed up for a coming? Has he signed up for
the new
for a
Netflix
coming
series?
year?
The new Netflix series. I'm talking.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, that thing. Yeah. What's it called now? I forgot to read it.
This show is about Mark Cavendish or something like that.
Okay.
Something like
anyway,
that.
search for Mark Cavendish on Netflix and you find out.
It's just come out this week, I think. Yeah.
It was out on the 2nd.
I wonder if they were waiting to have a final chapter. So I wonder if that will be in there.
They were just going to sneak in this year's bit. Yeah. I'll be interested to see. I haven't got it on the list yet, but fully intend to watch that before next time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
I reckon we'll go. I need to get back to work.
Do that. As folks may have noticed, it's not been long since we did the last one, but what we're going to do is do them a bit shorter and a bit more often.
This was no shorter, by the way.
No, it's not short.
I was thinking we were going to come out at 15 to 20 minutes, and we're not. We're on 27 minutes or something. So,
but that's about right. That's about right. So we're not going to go over half an hour, but we are going to do a bit more often to stay a bit more current. Not that we're super up to date with everything, but it's just nice to hear about things probably in the week in which they happen.
Exactly.
That's what we're going to do.
Cool. All right. Say goodbye, Captain.
Right. Goodbye, Captain.
See you later, folks. Have a good one.
Au revoir.